Welcome back to another edition of IPTM Instructor Spotlight. I'm your host, Sharon Murkison, and this month we have the great honor and privilege to have one of IPTM's criminal investigation and impaired driving division instructors join us on the show. Welcome to the show, John.
Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate you guys having me here, and I look forward to talking with you today and covering both sides of the house in IPTM's long tradition of impaired driving and bring some of the experience I have on the criminal side as well.
Great. Earlier I mentioned that you are an instructor in not one, but two of IPTM's divisions. Can you give our viewers more detail on how you've trained plenty of students over the years across multiple areas of study?
I, like many officers, got my start in patrol, and from patrol I developed a passion for impaired driving and thought I had a pretty good grasp on it until one day the court system told me otherwise, and I knew it was time for me to get some additional training. So I started out coming to the standard field sobriety testing course here at IPTM, and from there it just kind of thrust my career forward and went into a DUI instructor and ultimately became a drug recognition expert and drug recognition expert instructor. And because I'm local to Jacksonville, I've had the opportunity to teach here at IPTM throughout the years, and that really kind of propelled my career and helped set the foundation for what later became part of the criminal investigation training that I do.
Today you've brought in a case study from an investigation you worked on and solved a few years ago. I know you have some photos from the case, but can you start by taking me through from the start?
Yeah, so this particular case that we're going to review is part of the IPTM online course, The New Detective, that was created to kind of help bridge the gap from moving from patrol to having basically full responsibility in an investigation. And in this particular case, at my agency, we are specialized within the units, and so we're fortunate to have a homicide division and a robbery division and a special assault or sex crimes division. So we're specialized, whereas some detectives have to go out and cover the gamut from one case to the other. And so I've chosen to use this as part of the project at the end of the course. And this is a home invasion robbery that involved a sexual assault with many other factors that were involved. And not really having a basis to rely on, I had to kind of start over from square one and really look for that attention to detail. And I want to challenge all the students to do the same and really learn from not only the things that I did or I've learned or had the opportunity to work with a lot of great crime scene detectives, but I wanted them to also kind of step in my shoes and be very honest, the things that I did versus the things I wish I would have done, and had I known now, perhaps I could have done better. And so that's kind of the premise, to help prepare people, because when they just kind of get thrown to the wolves, it can be very intimidating.
All right, so let's take a look at some of these photos and explain what took place here.
Sure. So the premise behind these pictures, and I just selected a few to highlight in this presentation, is we responded to a house which had 4 residents inside the home, and there were 2 suspects. And the top left picture, that's the suspect vehicle. And when we arrived, this is basically what I saw. Obviously, the patrol officers responded to the scene. We've had 2 suspects flee on foot from this vehicle. So now I have a vehicle abandoned in the road, and I'm just making notes of the things that I see. And obviously, you can see a gun by the back tire. Well, as we move on from there and begin kind of walking the path in which the suspects flee, we locate the firearm on the sidewalk. And then another picture is a close-up. But at the time, I didn't know. I since learned after the fact that that firearm was the one taken from the home. And so before speaking to anybody, I'm kind of just walking the scene and trying to get a better understanding. And then it's simply the flight path of the suspects moving through the fence and along the way. And in doing so, obviously, this is in the middle of the night. You're challenged with different factors that environmentally you don't have control over. And as you can see, different items of evidence could easily be missed. And one of the things with investigations, you just really have to slow down because you only get one chance. And it's hard to tell a family that, we only get one chance to do this right. And we need to serve those families and give them justice. And sometimes telling them they have to be patient is hard to do. And so I really want people to slow down, to focus on the attention to detail. And in this case, um, without the benefit of light and speed, you could easily overstep evidence item number 8, which was the magazine from a firearm. And then we end up finding the suspect's glove as he jumps the chain link fence, stuck in the upright position. And then as I went back to the car, I look in there and you see this particular car had 3 different rolls of duct tape. And so these people came planned, prepared. There was a reason behind it. These are not usually targeted homes. There's usually more to the story, and kind of going in with that kind of skeptical mindset, but being respectful of people is important. And then finally, when I make it inside the house, as you see a variety of pictures there, it's a mess. And where do you start? What's important when you look at different things? And again, it can be a little bit overwhelming. For me, I'm the only detective on the scene, so I'm responsible. I know that I only get one chance to do this right. I need to be mindful of the fact that I have a sexual assault victim at the hospital. I have 3 other individuals in the house, and what's important. And it's kind of interesting because as we're going through this, I am building a class for IPTM to put online in the near future for homicide investigations. And in a homicide investigation, the absence of evidence can be evidence in and of itself. Whereas, like in an impaired driving case, if there's the absence of evidence is usually the defense's argument as to why their client is not guilty. And so being able to bridge that gap, being able to connect those and use those experiences is what really have helped me so much. And that's what I try and relay to those people. Use the experiences I have to maybe help them avoid those landfalls or pitfalls along the way. And so just taking the time to evaluate the scene and see what's there and perhaps even what's not, and not ever get locked in on one particular belief or reason, but just trying to make a well-rounded decision. And that's what the training here at IPTM has allowed for me personally, is given me a lot of different connections with officers from around the country and quite frankly around the world. While I haven't necessarily had to reach out to some of those across the world, if I needed to, they're there. And you kind of have those lifelong friendships and connections that you just can't get. And so those are the things that I want to relay. And it's given me the confidence to go out and do that. And then ultimately give me the confidence to come and share these things. Because most of the time in teaching, I find that I use my experiences, good, bad, or different, to help the students try and avoid those same, as I said earlier, pitfalls.
Great. That's some real world experience that you're bringing to the IPTM classroom. So thanks for sharing this case with us. How does what you teach at IPTM apply to this specific case or cases like this one?
So there's a variety, and I've been blessed to have worked around a lot of amazing, talented people, and I've taught with a lot of amazing and talented people. And so that is tremendously helpful. And many of our crime scene detectives come to IPTM and take a variety of different crime scene courses. And I could never do this. And I talk about I'm the only one there. I'm the only one that's responsible, but I couldn't do this without a team. And the crime scene detectives come in and really know how to get it. In this particular case, there was valuable DNA evidence which secured the suspect's conviction, which led to him serving the rest of his life in prison so that we don't have to worry about him terrorizing others. And so to be able to do that and be able to stand up and, again, rely on other people and make those relationships has been tremendously helpful to me in creating this course, The New Detective, and then ultimately the upcoming homicide investigation, the online version. Obviously, it's still available in the classroom, and I enjoy teaching in the classroom, but we recognize that there's going to be times where people just physically can't get here. And so to be able to provide this training online has been game-changing, in my opinion.
Do you have any advice for future or other law enforcement officers when faced with a similar situation?
Yeah, just know that there's a lot of people out there that are willing to help. In every course that I teach, and in any course I've ever taken here, the instructors have always provided me with an email address or a cell phone. And when they say, hey, if you have an issue, call me, I believe that. I 100% do. There's many people that I'm still close with or friends with. And while I'd like to think that I don't need to reach out to them, I've never hesitated to feel like I could. And so in exchange, have always used that same philosophy and given my email and my cell phone. And if there's ever anything that I can do to help people, I'd like to be able to pass that on, just like the instructors and people before me have.
Thank you for joining us on the show today, John. And we look forward to seeing you soon in Orlando at the Symposium on Traffic Safety. If you want to see more of John, check out his breakout session at the symposium, DUI, Harder to Prove Than Murder. To find out more about this breakout session or to register for this year's symposium, there's still plenty of time to register, so visit our website at iptm.org. Be sure to watch the other 2 episodes of IPTM Instructor Spotlight, now streaming on all platforms. And don't forget to tune in to our weekly IPTM Spotlight, where you can learn more about where and how IPTM is training the next generation of law enforcement. We'll see you soon.